is being recorded for distribution later on. So with that, I have the honor of introducing to you all April Elkins-Backey, the core director here with Stewards, who's going to be taking us through the session today, which is, again, managing your time. April, I'm going to stop talking now and let you take us away.
Great. Thank you, JM, and thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It's an honor to be able to spend some time with you all and to talk about managing your time. And all of us in this different world that we are in right now, whether it's working virtually or trying to split time managing kids or other issues, this is a really important topic for us to talk through. I by no means am an expert at time management, but it was really helpful for me to go through this and be mindful of time eaters and ways to manage our time more efficiently so that we can be more productive. Our hope here today is to make this really interactive for us in the best way that we can. There's also a raise your hand feature. If you guys see that, if you can definitely raise your hand. But also just feel free to chat, and we will make sure to be as interactive as we possibly can through this virtual setting. And I will apologize. They decided to mow the grass here behind the office, so if you hear anything in the background, that's what's going on. So I'll do my best to talk as loud as I can and turn on my mom voice. So I'm going to turn off the camera so that we don't have any lag or make things weird or make me talk like a robot. And we'll go ahead and get started. Josh, if you can take us to different types of working environments. And so we're going to kind of talk through just for a little bit on what different type of work environments that we have. And there are different types of offices. We have a central office, which is usually where your corporate offices are. Leadership and administration are usually housed there. Staff will commute to and from those places, and each person has a specific work area. A satellite or a main office, that is an extension of a central office. And the reason for this office is sometimes referred to as the main office because most staff members never visit the central office. And to them, this is their main office. It's not viewed as a satellite office. And for others, it's still a space for office for staff members that they can be close to customers and consumers. So it's like kind of like that one place that folks can go to. In today's world, we're now moving into virtual offices, and there were virtual offices before COVID, but now that we're managing COVID, most of our spaces are virtual. This office is sometimes their home or a separate room. Maybe it's on the kitchen table. Can anybody raise their hand to show me if you're working at your kitchen table right now? Or say yes here if you're working on your kitchen table? Yeah. Definitely uncomfortable too, working at your kitchen table if you've had to adjust to it. Working virtually entails arrangements that separates an employee from their managers and coworkers, and a lot of us are experiencing that right now. And it takes a different way to be able to communicate and work with folks in a different way. Josh, if you can go to the next slide. We want to talk about the benefits of working in different environments. What's the benefit of being in a central office or a corporate office? Does anybody have any thoughts or want to share on what some of those benefits may be of working in a central office? You can unmute and share if you'd like. Faster internet, absolutely. Some benefits that we can have here are you can get information more quickly. So you'll know that something is happening. There's more communication that's flowing freely. You also have a work area that's yours. That's not the kitchen table that you have to share with mom, dad, or other folks in your house or where you're going to be eating dinner later. Some benefits of a satellite office or a central office could be that you're able to have direct communication from leadership or with your manager. I think one of the benefits of being here with our staff is that folks are able to come ask me a question when we're together, and we're having to learn how to do that differently in a new world. How about virtual offices? Any benefits to a virtual office that folks would like to share?
Janet Garcia is raising her hand.
Thank you, Janet. Go ahead. Do you have a question?
Hey, no, I don't. I'm sorry. I think I just left it on that.
Okay, no problem. So some benefits in a virtual office as you guys are sharing here, it's ease of workplace access. You don't have to commute. You can just get up and walk over to your desk and start your day. You don't have to worry about consumers or folks just dropping in, and then you can create your own schedule and do what you want to do when you want to do it. Is anybody experiencing that right now? Of course we are. There are many statistics available about the number of individuals who work remotely. And trying to gather that data at this point right now, I would say like 100% of the workforce right now, maybe 98%, is essentially working virtually. And folks are just feeling not only stress, but the struggle of managing their time. And what we want to work through is kind of identifying some of those things. And if you can go to the next slide, Josh, and the noise in the background is so crazy. We're going to talk about working in different environments. So while there are benefits to working in these offices, there are definitely challenges of being in a central office. And one of those is being too close to the office, quote, politics, and just figuring out who's doing what and or saying what or being caught up into that. Being at the center of it all and getting caught up in those issues is one of the challenges that folks find in working in a central office. Satellite offices, as we know, folks, anybody can just drop in unexpectedly, so then you're going to have to readjust, or your focus is changed because folks are just dropping in. And it's just easy to become distracted when you have everybody in the office and different types of office setups. An open office concept is more distractions that you have to learn to manage. Virtual offices, some of the challenges there is that you're missing out on impromptu discussions about projects or cases with other team members. There's a lack of socialization with coworkers. And then there's the problem of technical issues, whether you have good internet or not. Where you are could be a challenge, and some of us are facing those. Is there anything in these office scenarios that are a challenge that I didn't discuss that you'd like to share?
Cooper Sheldon has raised his hand.
Cooper, do you have a comment, or are you just raising your hand to agree with a statement?
Hi. Yeah. So with the virtual office that we recently just started having me come back to the museum to work here at the museum. But before that, one of the issues and one of the benefits that I found from working virtually was that my landlady that I stay with, she would usually ask me to do things, and because I'm sort of staying at her place, that is a negative or a takeaway, is that you're always around the same person a lot. Whereas not working virtually, you're around different people, but during COVID, that's not always the best thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you for sharing that, Cooper. Any other thoughts on the challenges in these new work environments that we didn't share or discuss? We have a comment here that we're closer to food and snacks, and I kind of found that a challenge myself because I'm suddenly hungry all the time when I'm working in my house. Not being able to compartmentalize work and home, and that is absolute big challenge, especially right now in the world of COVID. Josh, if you can move us to the next screen, let's talk about increasing efficiency. And how can you increase the efficiency in your day? And you know, each of us are given the same amount of hours every day. We all know that there's a set amount of hours for work. We have a set amount of hours to live and play, and then you have time you have to sleep. You do have to sleep. And so there are also certain people or things that can steal the minutes or even hours from your day and to take you away from your work. And I like to call those time stealers or time eaters. There's so many forms in which time eaters or time stealers take, whether it's too many meetings. There's no opportunity to delegate, especially when you're in a virtual environment. You can't look over to to your partner across a room to say, can you help me with this? Procrastination. It's really easy to just procrastinate if you're feeling a little overwhelmed and you can't manage your time. And there's also poor follow-up, whether you can't communicate freely and openly to the folks that you're used to, or you're waiting for someone to check an email, or waiting for someone to confirm that they can meet with you. That definitely stalls you in your ability to be productive and efficient in your work. We do want to talk about today on ways that you can control some of those time eaters and identify the things that you cannot control. And we want to examine the day and identify those time eaters that you can control, and want to work to eliminate them and to make every minute of your day count so that you can be productive and that you can find that work-life balance that we're all trying to get to. A couple of things to move forward, and as you're trying to think about your time eaters, is, can I control this time eater? Can I say no to this thing that's in front of me? If I can't control it, what will I gain if I eliminate it or reduce it? What are some of the steps that I'll need to take to eliminate that time eater? So maybe I need to tell my supervisor that I have to focus on something else. And do I have the ability and the support and the courage to tell my supervisor no, that I can't do it, or to tell my landlady, no, I can't take care of this right now. I have to focus on this. Those are all very brave and things that you have to take into consideration. And at the end, and how will I know when I'm starting to see results of my time eaters? One way to use your time more effectively is to accept the events in your life that you cannot control. Focus your energies on the events at work that you can control. We may become stressed if we can't complete all of our work in each day. And I'm sure if I asked you guys to raise your hands, we'd probably break this Teams chat if we feel like we can't complete all of our tasks in a given day. But one of the things that is a time eater, and it's kind of like the elephant in the room that we don't talk about, is stress. Stress is that unseen time eater that we don't really see coming, but we know that it's there. So we'd like to talk about ways to reduce stress. So Josh, if you can advance us to the next two slides, go ahead and take us to the next one. We want to talk about causes of stress. And there are two different types of stress. There's internal sources and there's external sources. And we have stress that comes from the outside source that's major life changes, good or bad. And I think right now in the world and the situation that we're in, COVID has created like some very serious stresses for us and things that we really can't control outside of keeping ourselves healthy and safe. So that's a major life change. Work in and of itself is an internal stress. Relationship difficulties. We all are humans and we have relationships that we also have to manage and balance. And if there's something that's out of balance there in that relationship, that causes a source of stress where you can't focus or be productive. Financial problems are things that eat at you. You know that this is happening, bills are happening, you're not able to make payment, or how are you going to pay for this? You got a big decision to make financially, that's a stress that's eating at you. Being too busy. There's things that we have to do, and being too busy causes stress for us to where we can't focus and be our best selves. And this last one here that I brought up on my notes is one that I personally feel is children and family. Having to work remotely, homeschool my daughter, now that it's summer, like managing her ability to be a kid is a very big source of stress to where I just feel like I can't be productive, and it's really taken a lot of my time. There's some external forces too that also causes stress, and they can be self-generated. It's a common internal causes of stress that can include inability to accept uncertainty. So knowing right now that we're just not sure what's going to happen with our country opening up, coming back to work, and coming out of its work status, that's a piece of stress that we can't really control, and it's just really hard for us to function. Pessimism, folks that are negative, those opportunities really do cause stress. Unrealistic expectations, whether you put it on yourself or your boss or your supervisor or your mentors that you have, the folks that you work with every day, putting unrealistic expectations on you is really stressful. On the other side of that, those of us that just need everything to be perfect. That causes a lot of stress when we realize that there isn't a way to be perfect in everything and in every way. And then last but not least, lack of assertiveness. You know, do you ever find yourself thinking like, oh, I should have said that, or I wish I told my boss I don't have time to do this. I wish I would have stepped in to say X, Y, Z. Those are things that also cause stress. What's stressful for you may not be stressful to someone else. And that stress is something that we each manage and experience different ways. And the way that we manage that is also very different. For example, some people enjoy speaking in public and some people don't. They're just terrified with that opportunity to think about it, and it just stresses them out and they can't get past it. Some people are more productive under deadline and pressures, while others just find it just miserable to be under that type of stress. Some people are eager to help others through difficult times, and others find it just stressful because they're just not really sure how to sort through those feelings and emotions for them, but feel like they have to act a certain way. Some people feel comfortable complaining about bad service at a restaurant, while others are just not going to deal with it. It's too difficult to complain, so I'm just going to suffer here in silence and deal with what was given to me. Some people may feel that changes at work represent a welcome opportunity, while at the same time others worry about whether or not they'll be able to cope with those changes and would it have a negative impact on them in their work. Really quick, as Josh moves to the next slide, does anybody have anything they'd like to add there in terms of causes of stress for them that we didn't talk about? I'm going to let the chats go and we'll just keep moving. We want to recognize the effects of stress. Not only is it a time eater, but the things that it does for you with your cognitive symptoms, with your memory. So all of a sudden you've got all this stress, you have bad memory problems, you're not able to concentrate. Maybe you're just making bad decisions because you just feel like I got to get through this. Sometimes it's only seeing the negative, and as we talked about earlier, just this negative talk, negative self-talk, the pessimism of just being so negative also makes you stressed out, makes you anxious. Some people are just anxious in general, and so you have racing thoughts that also impact your stress. We have emotional symptoms when we're stressed out. We're moody, we're irritable, we're short-tempered. You can't relax, you're feeling overwhelmed, and therefore you can't manage your time. Some people have a sense of loneliness and isolation, and then just a general overall unhappiness. Outside of that, there's physical symptoms to stress: aches, pains, stomach, intestinal issues, chest pain, frequent colds, other things like you're eating more, maybe you're eating less, maybe you're sleeping too much, maybe you're not sleeping enough. It's easier to procrastinate or neglect your responsibilities when you're just stressed out because it's the easiest thing to do. And sometimes most folks will go to, I'm going to smoke cigarettes, I'm going to drink. And for those of you that may be in the office with me, sometimes I say like, I'm going to go smoke cigarettes because in my head, that might make me feel better. And for the record, I don't smoke cigarettes, but saying that sometimes makes me feel better. But those are things that have physical symptoms of just having so much stress. Too much prolonged stress can be harmful to us. And so let's be cognizant of those things as while we're trying to figure out how to be more productive in managing our times, that there's also this component of self-care that we have to do in order to be our best selves. So as we go into the next slide, we're going to talk about how do we plan and prioritize to eliminate stress. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share before we move on? Okay. We're going to talk about organizing and prioritizing your time, and I'd like to share with you a little tool that I use that I love, and I call it my 4 boxes. Josh, if you want to go to the next slide for me. So Stephen Covey describes a high-level prioritization scheme in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And if you haven't had a chance to grab that book, I recommend that you do. He has a new book with one more habit that he's added there. But in this book, he goes through this little tool to help folks categorize their tasks in 4 quadrants. The first one, most important and urgent. Your second one is important but not so urgent. The third one is it's not important, there has some urgency to it. Maybe somebody's waiting on me to do something. And the last 4 is not urgent, it's not important, but I'd like to get to it when I have time. So what I'd like you guys to do, if you'd like to follow along and play along, if you will, is to grab a sheet of paper and just draw 2 lines, one down the middle, down the top half of it, and then one across it, so that you have 4 lines. You have 4 boxes like it's shown here. And as you do that, I want you to think about a project that you have on your list right now that requires multiple tasks to get that done. And I want you to listen as we go through these, and as you're thinking about this, put those tasks in that box for you to complete what is in front of you right now. All right, Josh, if we'll go to the next one. So here we are, the first box. These are the things that are important and urgent. These include a crisis, pressing problems, deadline-driven projects, meeting preparations. This box are the things that should be completed today. And if they're not done today, there's going to be serious repercussions. I'm going to have a conversation with my supervisor as to why I didn't get this done. So for me, my task would be planning a party, because I think we're all long overdue a party. And if I'm having a large party at a venue the day before the party...
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay, sorry about that. Think about this party that I have to do, and what are some of the things that I need to get ready for on this party and on this project. These are the things that's going to go into this box. If I forget to send out invitations, if I haven't booked the venue, those are the things I want to make sure that I put here in this box. We're going to go on to the next one. The important but not so urgent. So these are preparations for what has to happen in the first box. Maybe presentations, relationship building, empowerment. These are things that should be done soon. It would be nice to do these today, but they can be put off for a later time. If these are not completed, nothing significant will happen, but I still need to spend some time on them. In Dr. Covey's book, he notes that highly effective people make time for the quadrant 2 activities, and that doing so can reduce the time spent on the other quadrants, specifically the ones under it, and specifically the first one. We're going to go on to the third one. And these are the urgent, but not so important. So those are the ones that you also might want to think about interruptions and some phone calls, maybe addressing the mail or reports that you have to write or meetings you need to prepare for. There's no set time frame on the activities that's in this box, but these are the nice to do items. If these items are not done, nothing significant is going to happen to me, and I don't need to have a conversation with my supervisor or my project partner to let them know that it's not done. And we're going to go to the fourth one. And this is more like busy work, junk mail, phone calls, time thieves, escape. These items are your time eaters, but also things that you need to get focused on or address. Effective people stay out of quadrants 3 and 4 because, urgent or not, they are not important. They're also, they shrink quadrant 1 down to size by spending more time in quadrant 2, which is the heart of the effective personal management. So quadrant 1 are the things that really should be moved from quadrant 2. So if I spend a little bit of time over here on the tasks in that second box, I'm going to have them ready tomorrow to move over into the first box. Our effectiveness takes a leap when we start doing the things in 2 on a regular basis. So when you start focusing your energy not so much on that 1, but the 2, the things that you put in box 1 are going to get done much faster. I guess for those of you that was following suit, you probably would have thought that I need to spend all my energy in the first box, yeah? Probably so. Josh, let's move over to the increase your effectiveness, and then I'm going to see if anybody wants to share. So if anybody wants to share, if you'll raise your hand, and then Lily, if you can help me pay attention to anybody who would like to share this, let me know. But to increase effectiveness, I want to leave you with a couple of things. Is everything in your life cannot be a priority. Everything that is given to you cannot be and should not be living in box 1. You have got to manage your time in a way where you're spending a little bit of time in all those boxes, even in the ones that are the time eaters, whether it's addressing silly emails that are not pressing, or checking the mail, or sorting through whatever, or filing. That is my biggest thing. I hate to file, but it's an important task, and that's always in my 4th box. Make sure you're spending time in all of those boxes, but realizing that everything can't be a priority, and remember that. You know, as you're looking at your tasks and however you use this box or however you make your list, remember that you can put things in priority or in categories and rate your task by which the ones that have to be done first. So if you use this box technique, maybe the first thing to do, and one of the things that I do when I do this, and folks that share an office with me will see that I use this box, I will start with a list of these are the things I have to do, and I do this box for a week at a time. I'll do my list, and then I will put them in those quadrants to help me manage my time just a little bit better, so that I'm not putting everything in box 1. A couple of things to remember as you're making your list and figuring out how best to manage your time and increase your effectiveness and your productivity is gathering a sense of time. You know, this is an opportunity for you to think about how long will it take to do this one task, and be honest with yourself about that, and move it into those quadrants or on your list appropriately. Another thing to do is set goals. Where do you want to be at a certain time period? So for me, I like to chuck myself into weeks. So what do I want to say on Friday that I accomplished? Do I want to say that I participated in 17,000 Teams meetings and I had to be on a chat that many times? No, I don't. But I also know that I have a lot of expectations and responsibilities and folks that need me to participate. So I got to work that into my schedules. I want to make sure that at the end of my week that I have been open and receptive and supportive to my staff, and I work through that as I'm managing my time. So make sure you set each week, however you start yourself, with what do I want to say that I've accomplished. For those of you that are Vistas here on the call, I know we're representing a lot of folks in different service categories here, but Vistas, you have your quarterly report. And maybe a good place to start is, what do I want to say that I accomplished this quarter? And build your time management boxes around that. Outside of time, the sense of time that it takes, time planning. Outline ahead of time the work that you need to do in that specific time frame. And you have 8 hours in your day. Inside this box, there are 4 boxes. If you spent 2 hours in each of those boxes, you've managed to get a lot of things accomplished on that task. So think of it in those types of chunks and opportunities. The other thing, and my advice for you, is recognizing procrastination. And this comes as a disguised excuses too, in that you need a bigger block of time, you need more information, you need inspiration. So make sure when you're planning your time and trying to manage that you work in and accept that you're going to procrastinate on something, but also finding the courage and the need to ask for help, even if you're not feeling inspired on something that you've been given to do. And then the last thing to ask yourself is, what did you get done? Don't focus on what you didn't do. Focus on what you did do as you reevaluate the things that you've shared in your box. Okay, Josh, the last slide here, and then we'll see if anybody wants to share, and then I'll have some tools that we can share with you guys that you can use that folks can share with you. So as a final closing piece here, and then I'll turn the floor over to you guys. Time management statistics show that 15 minutes of planning saves an hour in execution and improves the quality of your work. So if you can find 15 minutes of time to figure out how to do something, then you're going to be much more productive to get it done. Many people say that a plan is no use and that their workday is too fluid for planning and that they're just going to go at it any way that they can. Remember that a plan gives you a direction, and it's called a plan for a reason. It isn't the guidance. It isn't the final be all do all, but it's basically the backbone. It's your guide. It's your map of what you want to complete. And having a plan doesn't mean that you can't change it. Having a plan just means I kind of have a thought and an idea and a roadmap of how I want to get something done. To-do lists have stood the test of time, and for those of you who like to make lists or use post-it notes, continue to do that and find the 15 minutes in your day to make sure you make your list of the things that you want to say you accomplished at the end of your workday. Remember to put priority on your tasks. So just remember this slide that we talked through and thinking about, I need to get this done today. I have these deadlines coming. They're not in quadrant 1. Remember, everything on your list cannot be quadrant 1. They should probably be 2, 3. That's how you can prioritize your time. And then my final piece of advice for you guys is plan for the unplanned. Leave room for someday when we're all back in the office with our coworkers and our colleagues. Be ready to just plan for somebody stopping in just to chat, or something happening that you have to be part of to help organize and fix and find a solution for that problem. You may have a situation where your event, my task was I plan a party. Well, heaven forbid the venue caught on fire. I didn't make time to figure that out. So make sure that you have made time to make sure you can deal with the unknown. And so at that point, I'm going to see now if anybody would like to share, or did anybody follow along and make the little box that they felt helpful? Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share some tools and resources for you that we've used here in the office, that I've used, and Josh or someone here from the Vista team will be able to share. Somebody has something here. I lost it there. So Paul says that I've been starting my day with a task that should probably be in quadrant 4, and I'm going to work on changing that. So I'm glad to hear that this is working for you, or that you're finding something to take away. Anybody else? Ashley?
Yes, I would like to say that when I did when I did look at my task and put them into the quadrants, like you suggested, I found that I was definitely stressed about certain tasks that I had been given that weren't due for another week or so, and I could release some stress off of my shoulders and focus on more things that were pressing. So that was very helpful.
Yay! That's awesome. Success. We have a win. Anybody else? Okay, so Josh, I'm going to request control, and I'm going to share a couple of things here that we've used. Let me make sure you see it. My computer is going pretty slow. Sorry. Nope, that is not what we're supposed to share. Okay. Can you guys see this calendar? Can somebody just give me a nod here, yes or no?
We can see it.
Thank you very much, Josh. So this here, as Wonders sees here, this is an Excel spreadsheet. And this is a document that is essentially a calendar for the whole month. And you can put your goals over in this area of things you want to accomplish. And then you can plug and play those babies right into the days of the week to help you keep yourself kind of focused and knowing that, oh, I don't have to work on this today, but it is due on the 24th. So I want to make sure I put this here so I don't forget it. And when I'm making my boxes, I know how to move this forward into those boxes. So this is the first one. I'm going to switch around. Excuse my hip hopping around. Share. This one is a weekly schedule, and so you can change the dates here to make it representative for whatever week you'd like. And this only takes it in chunks. So you would be able to, these are my goals instead of objectives. Objectives, goals, those are the same thing. Here's are my to-do items for the week, and these are my deadlines. You can plug those things right back in here. You could change it to do, change your font or give some sort of color coding to it so that all of a sudden you can print this off or leave it up on your computer in the background so that you can see what you actually have done or what you have due. Super easy to change and get everything ready for you if you want to change your dates. And it moves everything right along. Well, now it's going to show me that it doesn't work. There you go. It automatically changes everything for you there just by changing the date. So that's a template for you that we'll share. And the last thing that we have here is our goal program planning sheet. And I see that it stopped sharing because I switched. Sorry. This one is more broad in that it can take all of your projects. You would start here with the list data, and you're going to see some folks here that are on this call or folks that you know. And these are people that I work with on certain projects. And then we have a list over here of things that we're working on. So we want to work on member engagement strategies, and I've assigned that to Sam. He's the owner, he's assigned to it. We're working through some things here, so we have dates, start dates on it, and when we want it to be finished. The list can keep going. We can make changes. We can assign it. I'm going to give Ryan, he's going to be in charge of recording these lesson plans. And we're going to get started on that in July. But Ryan's going to see this and know that he needs to start working on it when we start sharing this process. And folks, that is all that I have for you in terms of any resources that I have. I'll turn my camera on so you can see my face in case you guys have any questions. Happy to take questions, comments, or just anything you guys want to say or share, or feedback if this was helpful is really appreciated here. Ashley?
Yes, I wanted to know if you'd be sharing your template with us for your calendar.
Yes. I'm going to send these over to the folks, and we will make sure you get access to all these templates here. And the PowerPoint, I think, is that my understanding, Josh?
Yeah, we'll have a link to the recording of this session, and we'll also provide the PowerPoint. I believe we put it in box, and we'll have we'll probably send these out in an email, the templates, and we'll be in box as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, Noel, I didn't know that this could be done in Excel either when I was looking for it. I was so surprised when this came up. Super exciting. Looking at comments here, we have folks that suggest if you don't like digital planning, you can try bullet journaling, and that is an interesting and cool thing that I've been looking at too. And then we have Trello for folks that like to manage projects. So some folks I do know that have been using that. Some advice here is find it helpful to add events to my calendar that are really tasks to keep me on point throughout the day. And I've been starting to do that too, actually. Very good advice.
I do want to add one little thing to that. If you make it just a minute long, you have just a little, reminder that pops up, and it's not a big kind of section on your calendar, so other people don't see you as busy for 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever.
One of the things that I do here, we do just open calendars so folks can look at your calendar and pick a time to have a meeting or a conversation. So one of the things I've been doing is blocking out time, and I color code it for me so that it'll show that I'm busy or maybe tentative. and that's my time to focus, or that's my time to take care of some really big tasks, and I can manage my disruptions or interruptions or meetings that way. And it's been really helpful, largely in this virtual environment that we're in, where folks can't physically see me doing something at my desk, that, you know, they'll just send a chat or a Teams or just make a phone call, and we're all working to make ourselves available to make sure that we don't leave anything in flux while we're working digitally and remotely.
We had a few other folks speak up in the chat. Looks like setting reminders on the phone and carrying the phone around. Also good habit, kind of a moving calendar with you. Having a passion planner that is a good management tool for professional and personal goals. At work, we also have weekly updates that we highlight in our emails and meetings on Mondays. So yeah, but several things in there that sound like a great idea, especially if you like to mix up personal and professional goals and deadlines in the same space.
I like to add too. I don't use the quadrant thing, but I realize I do kind of use it, because I schedule about an hour of unimportant, not urgent, not important things to do that I would like to get done per day. But that covers me in case something that important comes up that I have to get done. So I know that at that time I can be used for other things, but I have it on my schedule that I know I can work on that. But if something comes up, I can move it.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming, and I'm going to hand this over to Josh and give you guys updates. And thank you very much, and good luck with your time management. It's a thing. It's a thing, but you definitely can take care of it. You can do it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, April. We appreciate it. I am trying. I don't know if you guys can see my screen. I brought it back up. Can anybody see the QR
Yes.
code? You can see the QR
going.
code? Oh, keep okay. Sorry. I had it up, but it went back to the beginning. But anyway, thank you, April. We appreciate everything you did for us. Everybody who came in, we appreciate you coming in. Yeah, we're going to try to do this every 2 weeks. We are going to have an evaluation at the end of each series or webinar that we do. So Phil, please use the QR code. I don't see it up on the screen. Let me see if I can't pull it up here. Can anybody see that now?
No, it's just a blank screen.
Okay. Let's see if I can't get it back on there.
So
Well, we're going to send it out in the emails anyway. So apologize for the malfunctioning of my computer here at the end of the day. But we appreciate you guys all coming. Again, we're going to try to do this every 2 weeks and then try to send out a link to something that you can see on your own. Team, is there anything else we need to add? Or?
Hey, this is Caroline. I just want to add really quickly, since we have non-Vista folks on this particular webinar, and we will in the future. So AmeriCorps and non-AmeriCorps folks who are here, just to clarify really quickly, we utilize an online storage system called Box. You've probably heard it named earlier in the webinar, but we'll make sure that your program coordinator has that link and we'll get it to you so you can access all of these resources. I just wanted to name that since the name Box is very short and vague and can be a little bit confusing. So know that that will come to you through the Stewards staff you're used to hearing it from, and then you'll have access to all of these things. So Josh, it looks like the QR code's up, so you can do a quick reminder on that.
Great, guys. Yeah, you can use that. You can just take a picture of that link or that QR code. It'll take you to the survey on SurveyMonkey. Please fill that out. That's how we know how we can improve on our summer webinar series. We encourage you to do that. And we also will email you this link. So if you are too busy or you're on your phone, you'll get it a little bit. We ask you to try to get it back to us in a week because we're going to try to do these every other week. That's all I have.
Thanks,
Alrighty.
everyone.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it.